Hey guy, hey
Hi.
Lawrence.
How are you?
Good, I'm doing good. My name's Justin. I'm from Geekcentric. How you both doing?
Yeah, excellent.
Brilliant.
All the better for seeing you.
Brilliant.
All the better.
Awesome, awesome. Well, look, I know you guys have been probably spending a lot of time today talking about your characters and who they are and the role that they play in this story, but I thought we could have a little fun. I'm curious to know if you had to describe each other's characters, how you would go
Oh.
about doing that. So Gaia, if you had to describe who Fréaláf is, who is he?
He is a man with a very strict code of honor and a very balanced moral compass who is willing to do anything to defend the people he loves, and that includes the people of Rohan as well as his cousin Hera. But he's also aware of his, I think, position within the family and knows not to overstep his boundaries, especially with Helm.
Yes, absolutely. Really get to see that
Could
unfold.
not have said that better myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now,
What has
Lawrence.
been laid
we should
down
do
here.
we
Yeah.
should do interviews like this.
Why did she have to go first?
Yeah. Well, now here's your chance, Lawrence. Who is Hera?
Okay. First word comes to mind is fearless. She is fearless.
Mhm.
And although obviously conflicted by the sense that she has abilities and capabilities, she has this sense, the family, the code of honor of the Rohirrim says that she must be this, she ought to be this, but in her mind and in her heart, she knows she can be so much more.
Mhm.
And of course, she's endowed with love, loyalty, honor as well, but a great strength that we get to see grow and like blossom throughout the entire story of this film.
Yeah, you guys nailed it. You
It
guys nailed it. It was great.
was
It
a
was great.
draw. It was a
Draw.
draw.
It was a draw. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
draw.
good. And I love that because I think it's so easy for us to, I'm sure it's easy for you guys to talk about your own motives and intentions, but it's really great to hear it from other perspectives to understand how that character is resonating. And talking about like characters resonating, voice acting is so much more than just lending your voice, right? There's actions that kind of go with that, but there's also kind of like this aspect that I've always found of really trying to find the character's soul through the voice and translating that in a performance that animation will then elevate. I would love to know for both of you, like what aspects of your characters do you resonate with personally?
Well, yeah, that sense of always wanting to know what the right thing is to do,
Mhm.
then finding out how on earth you should do that when you have so many obstacles in front of you.
Right.
There's also this sense of he has to be patient. He has to do a lot of waiting in the film for his moment to do the right thing for the people he loves. Um, and that was something that I thought was just quite beautiful to explore.
Mhm.
But we also I have to say that I owe so much to our wonderful script writers who gave us all these moments
Right.
that give us the soul of a character, show them their vulnerability, their conflict. This moment shows their strength. Maybe this section shows a bit of their flaws, their weaknesses, or whatever.
Right.
And that's massive credit to the people who wrote the script, because
Right.
then as an actor, you go into the booth and you're like, I've got this moment to touch this part, this person's soul,
Yeah.
dive into that.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think I'm quite outdoorsy. I'm quite adventurous. I grew up in the Highlands of Scotland, so that
Mhm.
I think her connection with the outside world, I love, in nature. I think that what I loved about Hera especially is the fact that she uses in many ways her vulnerability as a source of her power, because it allows her to maybe access bits of her soul that otherwise would have been blocked off,
Right.
especially if she had been raised, let's say, as a young man in Rohan. I doubt she'd be as vulnerable. And I think I'd like to learn more about finding the strength in my own vulnerability as connected with Hera's character.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love that the character's teaching you something as well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
About yourself and you're
yeah.
learning. That's so great. It's a give and take relationship. Now, obviously, this is a story that takes place well before the Lord of the Rings. I'm curious to know, how do you both see War of the Rohirrim expanding on the themes and mythology of Lord of the Rings while, kind of standing as its own unique chapter?
Well, I love it because you're seeing the ancestry of people that you already know and love, and in the
Mhm.
ancestry of Éowyn. I think you see possibly a more archaic version of Rohan, a more archaic version of the Rohirrim. But it's interesting also to see how little has changed in the way that the princesses of Rohan are treated.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
Éowyn and Hera have incredibly similar experiences.
Absolutely.
And a bit of you goes, you'd think they'd learn, but no. But
Yeah.
I think it's a standalone film in so many ways. But I think that people will love seeing the ancestry of the people of Rohan.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, to your point, the story of Hera kind of elevates the story of Éowyn,
Yeah.
right? And like you said, history has a way of repeating itself, sometimes not in the best ways. And I think to elevate Éowyn's story and understand where her strength comes from and her appreciation for her history, I think it's the same for I believe it's Éomer, who was played by Carl Urban. I think was also shunned out by the Rohan, and right, and like, and then he comes back, and like, I think there's a lot of overlap there about history repeating itself, but I think it gives more strength to these stories and these myths, and I absolutely love it.
It's so great that you bring up that Carl Urban character, because that was a way in as well, because he was a sort of Marshal of the Riddermark, which is what Fréaláf is. That's his official title.
Yeah, so Fréaláf, I feel like both of you have very similar journeys.
So out of time. There's
Justin,
it's okay.
Such a good time here, man.
No worries. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Hey,
It was
thank
great
you.
chatting with you.
That's a great question.
Alrighty, have a great day.
Have a
Bye-bye.
great day.